Oh my. Oh, what's this? Hi. All right, I'm Sherlock. Roll the credits, quick. All right, how's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a bra Friday night. My name's Sherlock. I'm a new part of this family, and I'm just putting my foot down saying I'm doing an intro straight away. I'll get right in there. I love this whistling in the dark stuff. Pure whistler myself, like. And no, I don't bet this T-Rex, so I'm not sure I actually resemble it. Do you think I resemble it on this this T-Rex? What am I up to, actually? What's on there? I don't want to fly away, though. I don't want to fly away. Anyway, I should introduce tonight's show. Tonight, we've got Jacob Myer, trumpet legend of Seabass Kid and UB40's tribute band and the Gala brass band as well. Loads of stuff, pals. Aye, very good. But I think him and Stuart just got to have catch up, shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Anyway, we should probably get on with the show. I've got to get back and eat some seeds and stuff because I'm getting a bit restless here, Ken. Right, I'm going to play the music again. I'm get into my bed and chill out the night. Anyway, nice to see you all. Take it easy. Peace out. From Sherlock, eh? There we go. Hello, everyone. Hope you're well. I hope you got a chance to meet Sherlock there. He's a wee legend. It's totally stole my heart. Anyway, tonight I was like, let's just have a catch up with Jake and see what's going on because we've not talked in a while. Here he is. I'll just pop him on the screen. Jacob, how are you, my friend?
Yo, delightful. Yourself?
Yes, I'm very good. I've had a productive week. Been sewing guitar straps and things with my mum.
Ooh, very nice.
Good fun. What have you been up to?
Nothing really. It's been an exciting week here. Watching documentaries and just generally chilling out. So,
What documentaries have you been watching?
the last one I watched was on King George V. It was a Channel 5 thing. So just kind of going through his life and how he was as a king, which I thought was very interesting.
Good king?
I would say so. Like that was the documentary's conclusion as well towards the end of his reign. So yeah, it's
So does Channel 5 actually put out good documentaries? I wouldn't have thought they did.
It's all right. I've definitely watched a lot worse. But yeah, it was informative and yeah, just generally something nice to put on and kind of half follow along. I also watch a lot of stuff on YouTube, and depending on which content creator you're watching on a particular day, so like what I'll do is I'll just put on a YouTube channel and just go. And so I find out that
I'm the same. I kind of just like find something and then I just absolutely hoover it.
Yeah, and so
become lost.
Yeah, so like I don't know if you're familiar with the guy Simon Whistler. He has like 1,000 different channels. One is called Biographics, one is called Geographics, and those just kind of talk about specific areas and people.
Cool.
He has one called Today I Found Out, which it's like, oh, here's an interesting fact, and kind of goes through the history of the fact. He has another one that's called Top Tens, which it's like a top 10 list.
Nice.
He has one called Business Blaze, which is a bit more zany and yeah.
I've been slowly working my way through like 9-hour unsolved mysteries or unexplained mysteries. Have you watched those ones?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, like there's so many myths and crazy stories I had no idea about. Like the frogman of like South America. There's like loads of reports of this like frogman, kind of like Bigfoot, but like lizardy. And then
all sorts of cryptids.
The scariest one was this. It was like sheep man, like an upright sheep guy with like ram horns who like runs, like is reported to have like just run at tourists in this particular jungle. I think it's in the Congo or something like that.
The Congo, okay, and not going there. That would be absolutely terrifying.
Imagine.
I've also heard that like there's Brontosaurus or something down in the jungles of the Congo as well.
Yeah, who was it? Cho. The guy from Vice actually went to try and find the dinosaur, the Brontosaurus. He went off to the jungle. Adam Cho or something. I can't remember his name. But no, that it's actually worth watching. That it's pretty crazy. He's a pretty crazy guy anyway. He's like an artist and like pretty psychedelic stuff. And then he just does crazy things and goes off to the jungle for no reason with like no preparation.
I'm gonna go find a dinosaur in the Congo and.
Why not? Yeah.
I'm not gonna bring a backpack.
I don't. Like I think when he went, he was pretty young, but no. Would you ever go to a jungle? If you got the offer to like a deep in the jungle where you're gonna get like all the creepy crawlies, there's no like quick escape. You're like 5 days trek from anything.
If the person that is leading me through the jungle knows what they're doing, I would probably do it. But like a rainforest is such like a foreign idea to me because like I've never been anywhere tropical, really. So I think the furthest south I've been is like San Diego or New Orleans. I haven't really explored.
South. Not in the jungle. See, I'd love to go to the jungle. I'm not sure how, but like maybe the brains like would be totally used to it because like we're like originally from there, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know. Like when I see pictures of spiders and stuff, my body does weird things. Right.
Yeah. I don't mind the spiders as much. It's the things that you don't see, and there's so many things in the jungle that could just kill you. Just like, don't step on that. That's got a pointy thing that will poison you.
Oh yeah, well true. Yeah, even the plants and stuff.
Yeah, it's like, no, don't eat that one. Its ring is in the wrong place. Spit it out.
Well, I mean that actually kills most people. Like when they're trying to survive, is like they get to the point of starvation when they're just literally trying to eat leaves and grass and bark and stuff.
Like,
and they end up
A
They just eat
mushroom.
something bad. Yeah, well, I'll try this
Yeah.
mushroom. Why not? Like, I'm nearly dead anyway, and then it just finishes them off.
Yeah.
Although there was talking of YouTube like rabbit holes. I did this one at the start of the pandemic. I went through. It's a whole YouTube channel dedicated to like survival stories.
Yeah.
Like, and that's actually, I was like, because I like watching those things anyway, and they're normally really badly done. But this must have some decent budget, and they actually reenact all the survival stories pretty good, and get good actors, and like you get a good feel for how it must have actually been for the people. And so I watched like 40 of these things in like 2-week period, and there was this one like there was like 3 things that always happen in a like survival story. Is like this they end up abandoned, and then like 2 or 3 days in, they always see like a helicopter or a plane or a boat or like something, but it never ever sees them. But that always happens. And then this particular one, the guy crashes in a jungle. Oh no, sorry, he was off traveling through the jungles with his like daddy's money. He'd had like lots of money from his dad from a business, and decided to go off traveling through the jungle, and ended up getting like tour guides that were a bit dodgy, and he overheard them saying that they were going to like kill him in his sleep, and so he literally abandoned ship, like grabbed the boat. He had a little stray dog which he had with him, so the stray dog came with him. And then like all of a sudden he realizes he's already in like sort of uncharted Amazon jungle, and he's jumped in this boat in the middle of the night because he thought he was going to get murdered, and now he's literally like traveling through the night in the middle of this jungle, ends up getting lost, comes off the boat, loses loads of his stuff, and then it's like this 2-3 month story of him like just clinging to life, surviving. He loses the dog like halfway through, and then like towards the end, the dog comes back. Like when he's at his like lowest moment, the dog comes back, and he like so back, yes, this is amazing. His dog stays with him for a week or so, and then he gets to that point where he's like, he just needs some energy. And like he considered killing the dog like a few weeks ago, and then like, oh man, I was watching this trying to go to sleep, and then I ended up just like, oh my god, he's going to eat the dog. He ate the dog, but it got him up this hill. The energy from it got him up this hill and then down onto the bed of the river, and he got found there. So it did actually saved his life. But like, how harrowing was that? I was like, no way.
Crazy. Did you guys ever have like programs here? I'm assuming because Bear Grylls is from the UK, but like Les Stroud as a Canadian, that's pretty awesome. He used to had a program called Survivor Man, where he would like put himself in these like conditions where it's like just him, no camera crew, and they'd have to survive for however many days or get to a checkpoint. And there's one where I think it was like the situation was like hot air ballooning across the savannah, and like the balloon crashes. So he has a surprise with the balloon, and he's like, well, how are you going to defend from lions? And he basically like fires up the like the torch for the hot air balloon, and like giant flames shoots out, shuts it off, walks away. That'll do. It's just like, oh, that's badass. But like,
wow.
I would not want to like defend myself from a pride of lions with the torch of a hot air balloon.
That's kind of a last resort moment, to be fair.
Like,
I've watched some crazy. There was ones. Have you heard of Ed Stafford? He's a British guy, and he kind of like, once Bear Grylls kind of got outed, Ed Stafford like came in and like carried the torch of like a real survivalist who's like, his claim to fame, well, not claim to fame, but like what brought him into the eye of the public was he literally walked the entire length of the Amazon River from Genesis like point, from where it comes out of the rock in a wall, to the ocean. And it took him, he thought it was going to take him a year, and he started with a friend. It ended up taking him like 2.5 years. And it's all documented. You can actually watch. Like, I can send you the documentary. And that's what got me into him, because like you see him go, like he's in the jungle for 2.5 years. Like he starts with his friend ends up leaving him quite early on, and then he's just trekking, and he goes for periods with a guide, and then periods just on his own, and like it gets stressful because like he can't find water at one point. He gets all these crazy rashes. Like you're in the jungle for 2.5 years, you're pretty much going to experience all it has to offer, like in terms of like bodily badness. But he does. But he's like the real deal. So he did that, and then off the back of that, he did a series called Naked and Afraid.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
You seen that one? They literally drop him off butt naked in like the craziest places, like Siberia, top of a mountain in a jungle, you name it, desert, and he has to survive for like 2 weeks and make it to X, Y, or Z. Yeah, Ed Staff. I'll send you a bunch of stuff. I love putting people on Ed Stafford. He's a legend. Yeah, Starbucks come to say hello. She's here. Ooh. Where have you gone? She's somewhere. Anyway, I've opened my beer now. Cheers, Jake.
Cheers.
Take it easy. Oh, so right. I have to ask you, man. Wisconsin. What the fuck? What the fuck is going on in your home, man? It's all going to shit. It's all going to shit.
Because like for anybody watching that missed the first time I was on the show. I'm from about 40 miles east of Minneapolis, where the whole George Floyd thing started. And so I get asked a lot, like, hey, what's going on with that? And so I kind of expressed my views in one of the very first episodes of Whistling in the Dark. And now in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which is probably 6 or 7 hours southeast, it's in like the very bottom corner, southeast corner of Wisconsin. There's a man who showed up to a domestic dispute between two women. I haven't quite read full details in a couple days, but allegedly he was there to help quell it, and he had his 3 boys in his vehicle. The police tried to stop him as he was going back to his vehicle to check on his boys. As he's moving from the rear passenger side around to the driver's side, police officers pull guns on him, and as he's going into the driver's side door, there's a police officer holding on to the back of the shirt, and they shoot him 7 times in the back, which is just like
7 times.
Seven times. I've read 8. I watched the video. I shared the videos on my Facebook page of like the actual shooting where you can like count the shots.
Yeah, I've seen the video. It's crazy.
And it's like there's a lot of like Ron Johnson, who's a senator from Wisconsin, Republican, Trump supporter. He is very much asking everyone like, we don't know the full story. And personally, watching that video, like I don't need a story. Nobody should ever be in that situation. Like
even like if you were to play devil's advocate and say he was reaching in for a gun, like worst case scenario, that's actually what he was doing. Even if that is the case, the answer isn't to shoot him 7 times. Yeah. Like there's like, you know what I mean? 7.
7
you know,
times.
Like even if he was going to go grab a weapon, you know, like that's not the way to deal with that situation.
Yeah,
there's no criminal. Like you're killing the guy. Like he's lucky to be alive, but he's paralyzed, right?
Yeah, paralyzed from the waist down in. From what I read this afternoon, he's currently handcuffed to his hospital bed. Yeah. Which, like, I still haven't heard if there's any charges against him. But it brings up this whole thing. Well, if you're told to comply with a police officer, you comply. But that just basically solidifies and legitimizes that the United States is currently a police state. And like, if the United States is a police state, like, what does that mean for everybody?
And then off the back of that, you had that 17-year-old lad, Kyle Rittner, who was at the protest, and he was being chased, but I guess one of the guys had a gun on him too, and he got caught, panicked it looked like, and turned around, point blank, shot the 2 guys, and killed 2, wounded a 3rd, and then sort of walked up to the police and was not even sort of like hassled. And like he was photoed at a Trump rally a couple of months ago. He was part of Blue Lives Matter thing and the militia crews. And I'm reading this going, militia crews, like in Wisconsin, like, and like, what? What's going on?
Yeah, like so, like he's a 17-year-old from Illinois that showed up with a part of a militia group in Wisconsin. So he crossed state lines, which
Yeah.
Wisconsin, like I don't think you can open carry until you're 18. Or and
Okay.
like there's like various gun laws that don't come in effect until you're 18, which is a 17-year-old from out of state. Like he's still considered like a youth child. And so, like, how did this kid get into this situation in the first place? Like, what, socially,
Was he asked behind closed doors? Is my question.
yeah,
Like,
like, is he supposed to be like this kid that like gets put in there because, you know, if an adult did it, you know, he's just this crazy racist, but now it's like, oh, some kid who didn't know better.
the thing is, I haven't
Oh,
seen the video. Like, it didn't look preempted. Like he was being chased, and he reacted, but like obviously extremely badly, and
mhm.
just was trigger happy, and went for it. And like, I mean, you know what I mean? It's hard. It would be hard to stage anything like that unless he was just going in with the intent of getting in trouble, and then that was his
Yeah, or
gonna
like
be his answer.
like kind of inciting violence. I know like during the Minneapolis protests, like I read all sorts of Facebook stories where you had you know, big black SUVs with tinted windows full of white supremacists going up the I-94 corridor from like Chicago up to Minneapolis, to like be like vigilantes
Right.
or kind of incite violence or defend the officers involved or whatever their excuse was. But yeah, it's crazy that all of this is like happening right now.
And so, in terms of Kenosha, is it Kenosha or Kenosha?
Kenosha.
Kenosha is where's that in like relation to where like you grew up and like where?
It's way far south. So Kenosha is basically like North Chicago, if you kind of want to think of it that way.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
So it's right in the very bottom of the state in the southeast. And I'm from like the northwest.
right, okay. And so like but you live visited some of these places and things, and like
Yeah, yeah,
it'll
yeah,
feel very familiar seeing it on the TV, I guess.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, man. I like every time I'm turning the TV on, I'm just like totally bewildered. I can't
Yeah,
quite
like
uh,
you
wrap
see.
my head around it. And then it's all with the backdrop of the elections coming up.
Mhm.
Um, do you watch some of the DNC and the RNC stuff?
Um, no, I'm so over American politics right now.
Fair dues, man.
Mostly, like you have the left going center, the right calling the center socialism, and so yesterday I was just scrolling through my phone where someone who like I've always known as a Republican posted like I'm voting for Joe Biden. I'm like, oh, that's a nice thing to say, like see, and then in the comments of that post, someone's like, I'm never voting for socialism. This isn't the country I want my grandchildren and my great grandchildren to grow up in. I'm like, if Joe Biden is being considered a socialist, what?
Well,
Like,
like I can see why they're labeling him as that is because like there's a lot of things that are happening that seem very like
very radical and
Marxist, neoliberal. Like there's all that backdrop happening, and like he's not saying anything against it, and then is
yeah,
actually using a lot of it to his benefit. I think in terms of getting votes and riding on the coattails of the Black Lives Matter
no,
movement,
yeah,
perhaps.
but
Like it's a bit disingenuous, and I just don't trust any of them
yeah,
anymore,
and like
ever.
as someone who's like politically, like I'm pretty far to the left. Like, I think Bernie Sanders is pretty centrist. Just kind of put you like in the frame of mind, and like I think what Bernie Sanders is trying to do is bring the United States in line with what like pretty much all the other major countries of the world have for their citizens.
Yeah,
And people on the right see that as this crazy radical leftist, where as like true leftist movements are much more extreme than that.
yeah. And, where does it end up though? Like in November, like is it got enough momentum to actually let him win? And obviously we've got Kamala now.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of her?
I didn't like her as a candidate in the primaries. Overall, I'm disappointed with who's being fielded for the presidential election. But given her recent record, it's kind of showed that she's changed and has become more progressive later in her career. So it's not quite prosecutor Kamala. It's not Kamala. It's Kamala.
Kamala Harris. I don't
Kamala
know.
Harris. It's
Probably potato.
Yeah. I don't know. I watched the video on it, and it was like infuriating some people that they were like Kamala or Kamala and like learning how to say it right. And now, obviously, now that I'm on a podcast speaking about it, I can't remember which one it is. But just kind of like taking the effort to learn how to pronounce people's names, like it shows how much you actually care about the topic, which is kind of embarrassing right now because I watched the video. I'm like, oh yes, this is super important. And
no, I wouldn't worry about it, man. There's plenty worse things to worry about. I don't know. It's amazing. I mean, black women, Indian descent, and obviously, I don't think that would have happened if it weren't for everything that's gone down the last few months.
Yeah, I think it was the right move for Joe Biden, just because he's another really old white dude running for office, and that kind of like disenfranchises a lot of the younger voters who are looking for diversity in the representation.
Yeah, and I guess and he's even called himself transition candidate. Like he knows he's going to be replaced as part of his pitch. So, like, Kamala probably will be running the show sooner rather than later, I think. I'm not sure he's got it in him.
Yeah, he's like upper 70s, I think, age-wise. Signs of dementia, which is absolutely terrifying. But if you can push for the change in the platform, Joe Biden passes away, Kamala comes in, runs the show for a bit. I think 2024, the United States would be in a much better position.
Definitely. It seems like the wise move. At least I think it's a better choice than last time. Well, I guess like everyone was just so taken aback when Trump got in. It's just like, what? Like, at least we're at the end of that 4-year cycle now, nearly.
Well, we hope. Like,
God,
I'm still worried. Like, worst case scenario, where the Democrats win, and like there's already issues with mail-in voting and how Trump has admitted to defunding the United States Postal Service, which is a constitutional service that's outlined. I can't remember the article and chapter, but it is in the United States Constitution that this is a thing, and so he's kind of sabotaging that.
And like how many like proper big rules has he actually broken though? Like as a president, like do you think he'll ever get like taken up for half of them, one of them?
We'll see at the end of this. I think it was like the Mueller investigation was like you can't charge a sitting president with this, and he kept like emphasizing that point where it was like you can't charge a sitting president. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and then like he was impeached.
Jenky's got it in him to power grab and just like whatever by any means necessary to keep hold of power.
It wouldn't surprise me at this point.
He's probably like, I mean, he's in the death throes, right? So he could just go full.
He could go full dictator and like go for it. I mean,
he might like.
He's in his 70s. Like he's already gotten this far. What does he have to lose?
And he loves all the other dictators. He like best friends.
Yeah. So like,
we're joking. I really hope not.
Yeah,
it would be awful.
I was very much into like joking. Haha, Donald Trump is president. Like this is a terrible idea. Hilarious joke. Like to the point where, like, I jumped on John Oliver's like make Donald Trump again. Like, saying, like I bought the hat. I'm like, this is a hilarious joke that's never gonna happen because it's so ridiculous and like it's not gonna happen. And then it happened. I'm like, Well, at least I get to wear my hat for 4 more years, but there's no way his crazy policies are going to make it through both the House of Representatives and the Senate. And then they started to, and like, it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Slippery slope. Yeah, man. I just hope, wouldn't it be nice if things just like balanced out for a little while and it just went back the other way? Like,
Yeah.
Just never needs a breather.
Yeah.
I can't like. I don't know. We've got Stevie Creed on the podcast on Sunday night.
Yeah. So that.
So that'll be good hype for that. But I think I'm going to take a small break from social media for maybe a week as well after that, because like at the moment it's just that much going on. It's a really good idea to just take a break sometimes.
Yeah. I was talking with Elsie about this last night, actually, just because I'm seeing so much stuff out there. I sat down, I'm like, right, I need to rant at you for a little bit, because there is one of those posts that's supposed to be like a really feel-good post about stopping human trafficking, because that's a huge issue in today's world. And like the situation was like 3 young girls in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, were at a gas station fueling up, and there's 2 creepy guys in an unmarked semi, or lorry as you'd call it.
Yeah, a lorry.
But they like showed up and made the girls feel very uncomfortable, and they like liaised with the employees of the gas station, and like they weren't abducted is like the gist of it. But the mother like it uses so much personal detail in it that I'm like, this is way too much right now. And I took 5 minutes and I found out like where like this person who posted it, I found out where they live, where their church is, where their daughters go to school. And I'm like, I'm a completely harmless dude in Edinburgh, Scotland right now, but this post has 10,000 shares on it. And
wow.
who has seen this video, who has seen this post now, they can use that like info for malicious purposes. And like I'm seeing a lot of that these days on social media. A lot of like very easily shareable images with framing complex issues in like very much like black or white, and if it's not black, then it's white. Specifically in regards to wearing masks, it's like
that's one that's really got me. Like, how can you argue that having a physical piece of something in front of your mouth doesn't stop at least some? You know,
it was something that like my cousin posted too, and it was, I think that the post was, if wearing masks are effective, then let family members and loved ones go visit people in the hospital, and if they're not effective, get them off their children, get them off all of our children. I'm like, hold on, like masks aren't 100% effective, but they've been scientifically proven in a number of studies to reduce the number of large droplets produced, which are known to carry the virus, but we can't confirm yet if aerosols can carry the virus. So why would we let people into nursing care homes and hospitals where people are most vulnerable when we don't have all the information yet? And I kind of went off there for a bit.
No, man, I totally agree. Like it's just it should be a simple thing. I guess the thing that surprised me most about everything is what we're actually debating and what ends up getting discussed about. Is like it's such a low. It's like, no, we really should. The things going on are pretty serious, but like we're arguing whether kids should wear masks in school. It's like,
I was actually rather. I was surprised. I think it was like earlier this week or something, where I posted the University of Edinburgh study on the masks, and then Gemma commented on it, and then we're just like throwing like actual scientific studies at people. I'm like, this is awesome. Like using scientific studies and like peer-reviewed journals in like discussions, and like this is the high-level stuff that I want to be doing on Facebook. But unfortunately, most of our Facebook interactions are with people that we really wouldn't want to talk to if they showed up on the street anyways. And if they're just filling our news feeds with stuff.
It's jargon. I think people are taking more of they're maybe considering their social media more like their diet now and being careful about what they consume. And maybe like the amount of fucking crazy fake news that's come out in the last wee while, or maybe have helped teach some of us. And maybe like, I mean, I'm like, I've had to help some relatives and things and be like, look, this is probably fake news, or like
Yeah,
just be like, this, you probably want to avoid things from this site or this site. And
to this side. And I think the hard part with that though is like there's so much out there, and like everybody wants that confirmation bias that
they do
really
seek
is.
it, and they seek
Yeah.
it from the get go. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think there's more stuff coming out. There was the IDW thing a while back, like the intellectual dark web, well, like Jordan Peterson, um, like Joe Rogan, and like all these other voices, like Weinstein, Eric Weinstein, and his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of got like cult sort of status pretty quick, and for something that was supposed to be quite an evolving way of like talking about things, it got a bit of stigma. But like
Yeah.
those ideas have now come out, and now we're find like I've managed to find loads of really cool journalism on YouTube, like little pop-ups, like students that have started their own media companies, and using like good faith and sense making, and like using having actual debates with people they disagree with, but doing it in
Mm-hmm.
a way that folk can see how to do it, and like that's how we actually have progressed this far. So, like, because we've been able to do this, and like if we stop
Yeah.
doing that, we're going to be in a bit of trouble. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I think we'll see like a new wave of media like come and hopefully like steal the narrative a bit from the mainstream. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I think the trick with that is making it kind of more of a multi-generational, full culture embodying sort of thing. Because like I think penetrating younger generations through new things is really easy to do, but getting my parents or like our grandparents' generations, like those older folks to buy into the new things, which they are typically not into, really. You know.
Did
Yeah.
you do you, like is your parents and stuff on Facebook?
Nope.
No, like my mum joined Facebook, and I find it kind of strange, and like she was kind of bombarded with stuff, and it was funny seeing her learn like the tropes and the annoyances of Facebook and social media, and then my mum being like, "What's this?" and like, "Who's this person liking my post?" and like, I'm like, "I don't know. Like, they could be anyone. Like, how are they liking my post? Are they seeing all my stuff?" And like, it was kind of eye opening to me, who've kind of like, well, I didn't grow up with it. Like, I luckily, like, I was still of the generation where you go knock on someone's door and be like, "Hey man, you coming out to play? Like, what you up
Right.
to?"
Right. Right.
Maybe like phoning them on the landline, but they'd be engaged, and you'd just be trying all day, waiting to get through. Like, "Hey, you coming round?" So like I had that, but then the internet came, and I remember like second sort of half of high school was like MSN Messenger, getting home
Yep.
and just talking to girls on MSN Messenger, like sharing
Yep.
Alkaline Trio songs and Blink-182 songs, and like yeah, all
Hmm.
that sort of stuff, and like being on like the first sort of like YouTube type sites, and like seeing crazy
Yeah.
videos and being like, "What the hell?"
Man, I remember like I used to have to go to the public library because I didn't have a home computer that could handle things. I had our Windows 98 second edition
Hey.
until I was like 14, 15 years old. And so I'd always have to go down to the library, and if I wanted to watch videos, and when you're that age, you're trying to find everything like this is hilarious. And like RuneScape, I don't know if you played that, but
Oh, that rings a bell. Was
yeah,
that like a almost like a sci-fi type
it was like
spaceship game?
a MMORPG.
Oh, right. No, I've not played that.
But anyway, so it took up a lot of bandwidth and all that. And there's a sign at my public library because my friend and I got video games banned for playing RuneScape.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what are we gonna do now?
Can you believe like I got like a alert on YouTube the other day, and it was like Call of Duty championships, whatever, and it had like there was like 100,000 people watching live, And it was all these kids sat at home, but they're all in teams, and it's all the esports and like commentators and like they've something like I guess of any type of event that might not have been hurt too much by COVID would be the esports because they have the ability to do it all from home and just go for it. And I was in awe watching these kids like because I think there is a lot of strategy and teamwork and all that. And, like, it's amazing what they can pull off, which seem like superhuman abilities, like absolutely crazy. But yeah, like there was 100,000 people watching these like kids play Call of Duty. It was like wow, and they're all making mega bucks. They're making millions if they win.
I remember like the fun of video games when it was you had 4 controllers for the console in your basement. One of them had a bad joystick.
You'd always give that to the like you're getting the bad one to do, man.
Everyone's fighting over that one, and then it was just the 4 of your friends hanging out playing video games for the night. But like there's none of this like I'm gonna sit at home in my recliner with my headset and my beer. You're gonna sit at your house with your headset and your beer. We're gonna play video games. Yeah, I think there's definitely something lost to not doing that anymore. But the times are changing.
I make time. Like I collect a lot of old vintage stuff, as you can probably see, and you've probably seen on here. And so like I do have like some old consoles and stuff kicking around, and I absolutely love games and stuff. I was brought up on games. My brother had like an Amiga, Commodore 64, like Amiga 600, like floppy disks and tapes, and like where you would literally load the tape in, and it was like the screen would go all like, and it would take like 30 minutes, 40 minutes sometimes for one game to load onto the Commodore, and then you finally get it. You'd be playing, and then you might be quite good at the game. You get to like level 10 or something, and take you like 3 hours, and then you die, and then all the way back to the beginning, like no saves, no nothing. So it was amazing seeing gaming evolve. And it was my brother gave me that passion because he loved it so much, and like I kind of was never as good as him on games, but enjoyed watching it. And like to look at games now, it's absolute mad, like absolutely mad. The PS5 coming out.
Yeah, it's really hard. Like I still consider myself to be fairly young. I haven't hit 30 yet, but I can't even compete with like the new systems. I think I fell off the video game bandwagon in 2007, 2008 because instead of getting a PS3 and an Xbox 360, I got a Wii, and that kind of was the end of my gaming days.
Yeah, well, you and like 50 million other people got a Wii. Like, you know, I used to sell old stuff on eBay and that, and I used to pick up Wiis quite often with like the Wii Fit boards and stuff, and I would have to test them to see if they're working, and like I would stick the Wii in, and you put Wii Fit in, and it comes up like it's been 5,263 days since you last logged in, and I'm like, how many Wiis are there around the world that are just sitting gathering
counting?
Such good intentions. Poor Wii Fit. So yeah, well, there was Sunshine. There was like Mario Sunshine on the Wii.
Super Smash Bros. That was
Smash
fun.
Bros was alright.
I wasn't a huge fan of the Mario Kart, just because it felt weird. Like I didn't like the joystick and the nunchuck controller. Like playing Mario Kart, like in a recliner like this, like
yeah, it didn't feel right.
Yeah, like not being at the screen with the controller. Come on, something not quite right. Although like I did like the motion controls, like bowling. I think everybody enjoyed Wii bowling.
Yeah, well, I got quite good at doing the Wii bowling from the sofa. You just like go, blink, you get like 10 strikes in a row. You don't have to even move. Well, I had a GameCube for a bit, which didn't last long. I even had a Switch for a wee while, and I enjoyed playing. I literally bought a Switch just to play Breath of the Wild because I love Zelda.
Oh, nice, yeah.
When I was, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9, like the best Christmas ever. Got an N64, and eventually got Ocarina of Time, and that was like
great game. Such
a huge experience. And so like Breath of the Wild actually gave me the same experience. It was fucking amazing, like beautiful art. They didn't they've obviously not got the same computing power as the other consoles, but like
Mhm.
the art design like made up for it, and
Yeah.
like what made it fun was all the physics, like the whole world. You can play with the whole world and get super inventive with like what you're doing and how to actually achieve the puzzles once you get into the like the caves and the dungeons and shit. It is really, really good. Have you had to go with the Switch? Have you ever played one?
I've not. They came out. I think I worked the release of the Switch because I used to be the security manager of a Target store in the US, and so like the Switch came out, and like I'd be the one monitoring the line. Everyone would run in. I'd have to like be like, right, we only have 7. You were the first 7. You get the Switch, and then I would never get it. But
I played through that, and then I basically sold it. The Mario game was okay, but nowhere as good as Mario 64.
Yeah,
it didn't have anything on it.
Yeah, I had.
But they're going to do a Breath of the Wild too, so I might have to get one
Yeah.
again.
I think my last handheld was a Game Boy Advance SP.
Classic. Were you Pokemon guy?
Yeah, for a while I had Ruby. So I had the original big fat gray Game Boy that like would pull down your shorts pockets.
Yeah.
And then so with that I had red, blue, and yellow, and then I had saved up enough money like doing various jobs for my parents, and I bought a Game Boy Color, and then got like the next 3 Pokemon games, and then like one Christmas I got the SP and Ruby, and then
in color. Oh my god. Yeah, I wasn't into Pokemon unfortunately until later. I quite enjoyed the cartoon when I was a kid, but like, I never played Pokemon very much. But did you remember the Sega Game Gear? It was like the Sega handheld with it. It was like around at the same time as the original Game Boy.
Okay.
But it was like seen as better because it had a color screen and an LCD type display. So I had that, and I was Sonic on that. Sonic 2 and Sonic the Hedgehog. Played that to death. And a game called Crash Test Dummies.
Okay.
Do you know that? No.
No.
Like I think it was quite popular at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I used to sit and play that like every holiday, sit on the Sega Game Gear. And even had, it was super vintage, had this like TV like adapter thing that you'd throw in the back, like you blew it on the back and then put it in, and then it had a massive aerial that you'd pull out, and you could actually tune it into British terrestrial TV.
Really?
Yeah. It was awesome. It was like you'd always be like in your bed though at night, like 1 a.m, like trying to get a signal, and like when you're a kid you just put up with absolute garbage, but like I'm watching some football from Finland or something.
Yeah, so woo, I got there.
Yeah.
And then like,
and I had like the magnifier screen. Now the Game Boy had that too.
Oh, with like the clip on above it, right?
Yeah, you like pull it over, and so you could see the screen bigger. Yeah.
I remember I used to have like a book light that I would hold behind my Game Boy, so it'd be like this thick. So like the book light on the screen, I'd like stay up late at night.
Well, that's the best thing about being a kid. Especially like once you got a games console, that was like you just get the volume down. You just figure out ways to stay up late and play games till like 3-4 in the morning.
Yeah. Gosh, I think it was like my 3rd or 4th when I was in 3rd or 4th grade, so 9-10 years old. It's right when Harry Potter came out, and I had a PlayStation 2, and like there's one level where like a troll comes and attacks you if you make too much noise, and so during my birthday party, it's like 1 a.m. My friends are like, all right, we got this level, and then like all of a sudden like we'd make noise, the troll would be like my dad comes on, what the hell are you
rumbled?
Wait,
did you read all the Harry Potter books?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you were a big fan, because I know like Americans in general go crazy for Harry Potter.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how I really feel about them now with J.K. Rowling trying to like retcon shit, but
yeah, but like I don't even know if I want to ask what's going on with that. I know she said something about something.
Like it's like anti-trans and all sorts of stuff, and like I'm gonna just completely ignore her. I have my childhood memories, and like, I just don't want her to take that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the stories are good. I've always got this. I would love to busk on the grass market or something, and I would love to learn the Harry Potter theme.
Boom, boom, ba boom,
Oh,
boom, boom, boom. Oh, you'd
that'd be
make
sweet.
so much money in August.
You would. Maybe not now, but
Yeah, no. I don't know. There's a lot of people coming up, a lot of tourists from England.
yeah, yeah. Although I think that it was the Americans that would be really into it, or would have
Yeah,
been.
yeah.
They love that. I think the Harry Potter shop actually that sits opposite on Victoria Street's been closed. I don't think they even had the rights to sell all that Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah. Well, now there's one. Well, it's like right on Southbridge or Clark Street. There's
Yeah,
one
I've
that's
seen it.
like there's one there, and then there's one in on your way up to the castle on the north side of the road.
Oh,
There's
I've not seen
something.
that one.
Yeah, like you have to go down like a flight of stairs, and then it's like Harry Potter, just like everywhere. And like in the back corner, there's some like Game of Thrones stuff.
Yeah, I went to the one. There's the one on Southbridge has got like a Star Wars section.
Yep, kind of
Through
the
the
back
other
end
end.
there.
I went in like, if I had like crazy amounts of like splash cash, I would have all that stuff kicking about.
I would have
Like
such a cool place right now. Let me tell you.
Stormtrooper armor, please. Yeah, I'd have it. Like just for like, I don't know, do a couple of gigs in the armor.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. We should do
Have you
that.
ever seen the video, or if, I don't know if there's video. There's pictures of Andrew at where were we playing? It was at Studio 24, which is now gone, unfortunately. It's literally been destroyed like this week.
Oh.
Andrew he made this like massive Batman like costume and wore it for the whole set. It was like the helmet was like obscenely big, it had massive huge bat ears on it, and he'd like gaffer taped it all. But he wore it for I think, I don't know, at least half the gig. He was absolutely sweating in the thing.
Yeah, well, yeah.
We played a gig. Another band played. They dressed up as Michael Jacksons of different eras. So it was like 4 different Michael Jacksons. One like Billie Jean, one with a red leather jacket, one like Bad, and then one with like the white sort of like heal the world sort of style. Just good.
That's funny.
When are we gonna get gigging again, man? When's it gonna happen?
Oh gosh, I don't know. So with the UB40 band, we got something in the books for November in Glasgow, I think, and it's like 70 tickets, I think, are available. But yeah, it's all going to be socially distant, and you need to book your table. And so I don't think there's going to be very many people dancing, which is, I think it'd be weird doing like a Seabass Kid show without anybody dancing.
I think so too, man.
Just having them sit there. I know we did the live stream at Stramash, which was really, really fun. Super surreal being in Stramash and like nobody is dancing. And
yeah, I mean, we've definitely played gigs to nobody before, but like it wasn't planned in quite the same way.
yeah.
But so yeah, it was a surreal experience. I think it was nice to play though, wasn't it?
Oh my god, it was like just for like mental health.
Yeah.
Like I counted last week or the week before, and like I'm up to like 44 canceled gigs because of COVID, and I'm just like, whoa.
That's crazy.
My entire life has just been like upside down. And
44 gigs, like how much? Like, and think about like, and that's one person. Think about how many gigs have been cancelled worldwide, and how much money.
That
all in cost. You know, and it's not even that. It's like the burger van round the corner that's used to having 150 folk show up every week.
Yeah, you know, like
the knock-on effects are crazy.
Like Stramash is usually like capacity, like
yeah. Well, they've opened like my bro and Stephen, and that like put loads of work in. And
yeah, I was down there.
Did you go?
Saturday. Yeah, I went down there last weekend.
Cool. Did you enjoy it? You felt safe and that?
Yeah, I felt safe. It was a couple interesting couples in there, you know. It's a pub. People are at pubs. They're going to be like shouting across the way.
Yeah. Well, I guess that comes like that's part of the risk with we're going out at the moment. Did you do like a pub crawl? Like, did you go for a few pubs or?
Yeah. So, well, we started out. We had dinner at Wings, which is
Nice.
a favorite
Oh,
restaurant of Elsie and I, and it was their 7th birthday. Um, so had some wings, had a few pina coladas. It's just a nice thing, and then made our way down to Stramash, had a couple pints there, and then ended up at John Leslie's, which is the sponsor of Elsie's rugby team.
all
So
right. Very nice.
nice cozy pub there.
So I've not sort of ventured out yet, other than, I mean, I was working down Leith Arches for a bit, making the pizzas and the burgers.
Yeah,
But I won't be doing that for much longer, I don't think. So I'll be back down in Gala. I've been spending my weeks sewing mainly. I've been learning to sew some guitar straps, and I'm putting my wee shop together.
Nice.
Trying to stay busy. Hopefully, because like if you're making stuff to sell for like Christmas, now's like the time that you need to start getting stuff together and making things and putting it together. So I'm just getting stuck into that. I hope some musicy stuff will happen too, though. We got the Mac Arch where we played.
Yep.
With Colonel Mustard. We're going to be using that hopefully to do some of these sound whistling in the dark podcasts. So we'll do some sessions down there, and then potentially looking at maybe streaming it to the likes of Stramash or to venues so that they can have live music but not actually have a live band there in and out and all the sort of logistics that would make that difficult. So we're looking at ways around it. I think from the 14th you can have live music again. So like if the venues are small and they don't want folk coming in and out, maybe they can look at a streaming option, and then we'll put them on in this beautiful venue in Gala with the stained glass windows in the back and beautiful sound quality, and then we can just send that to whatever venues want to have it on. But I guess mainly Stramash. We want to do like Stramash and Mac Arch at first, hopefully, because they're both beautiful, like renovated churches. They've got like that religious connection. So we see what we can do. But yeah, well, I don't know. Other than that, I can't see like live gigs properly coming back until
there's a vaccine.
The earliest middle of next year.
Yeah, it's pretty grim right now. Just to like even like resume things, like there's so much up in the air and everyone is on different levels. So like I feel quite comfortable going out. That doesn't necessarily mean everybody wants to like go out.
Totally. Well, there's still lots of people excluded or feel very socially anxious to be outside.
Yeah,
I know. I definitely feel it. It does have an effect on me choosing whether I want to go out or not, and feel quite anxious sometimes in certain social situations if it's quite busy or whatever. And I kind of like, I know that it's hard to shake it. You might know why it's happening or why you feel like that, but it is kind of hard to shake it when you're out. But everyone's got to make that decision. Like, it's going to be a while. I got an Idols ticket. Beck, thank you, Beck. Like Beck managed to get like 6 tickets. She got up early on Wednesday and Friday, and so that gig's next May, I think, at the Barrowlands. So like that's a good, like, we'll see if that goes ahead. I'll be impressed. That'd be a hell of a celebration, an Idols gig to like imagine that. Oh yeah, yes please.
I'm hoping like festivals can operate in some capacity next summer. I know that was something I didn't think I would miss it too much because I don't have that much experience playing festivals all summer. But when my summer just like completely dried up, it's like, where's the Kelburns? Where's the Knock and Goricks?
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I think that like I do worry about the like, God forbid, the elephant in the room if festivals and things are affected widely next year as well. And it looks like 2 years without that release and that like pressure like cap coming off, then I'm not sure what will happen. I think it'll get a bit crazy. I'm not sure we can do 2 years without having that place to go and just let
like something
all the energy out.
Like emotionally, like just being like so far removed from it, since it's like ingrained in a number of us. Like that's what
Yeah.
we do. So now having that repression
and like the normal world that we live in is pretty intense, and like we need people need that release. I think that's why we've seen so much like crazy like rubbish and like just general bad behavior from the youngins and stuff as well, like who normally like they'll have tea in the park in Reading and Leeds and these really big festivals, so even where they can go and just get eckied up and go crazy and just let loose for a weekend, like without too much worry, and like just let that sort of demon out and exercise it because it needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But now that those demons are spilling on out on our streets now because they've not had the field, and like we've not had our fields. I think, I do worry. We need festival season next year. We need it.
Indeed.
Oh, right. I want to talk about aliens, man.
Aliens. Ooh.
Yeah. I've been watching more stuff. Like I go through phases of like just being obsessed and getting like quite behind like the whole UAP, and then like the New York Times thing dragged me in again recently.
Yeah. I just watched it's a Netflix documentary. Who's the guy that worked at Area 51?
The Bob Lazar guy.
Yes, him. There's one that just came out on Netflix on him, and it's like, it's just him being him, talking about how there's 9 alien spacecraft at Area 51, and he worked on them, and everything was compartmentalized, and apparently
that's what the sort of big like New York Times was saying, that the Pentagon has confirmed. Well, I don't know. Maybe do you know this for sure? Is what they said was they've confirmed that they have found material which is of a extraterrestrial nature, or like but isn't something they've made.
Yeah, I've heard that. I don't know how much truth there is given what's coming out of that government right now, but
well, I wonder how much of it is distraction, because it like especially right now they need it. So like, I'm very, very like dubious of so much of it. But
but no, it's
when I see these videos though of the little aircraft, which there seem to be more and more appearing on Reddit every day. And maybe it's just because people are at home and they've got more time to Photoshop these things, and that's what's happening. Or are these things real? Like, it does my head. Like, I watched like a 2-hour thing the other night. It was totally off the planet, like crazy. But it was this guy talking through like the 82 different alien species that apparently exist, and like he had details on like the star systems they're from, like how long they've been interacting with humans, like what they look like, what their traits are, like what the history has been, and like talking about all these like underground species which still live there in these like subterranean cave systems. And I'm just like, what the actual it was so matter of fact talking about it, and like it just started going in. I'm just like, imagine any of this was real, even if one of these races like there's 82 he's talking about.
80,
have you seen or heard?
I have not, and I want you to send it to me so I can watch it tomorrow. If not tonight, we'll see where we end up. But like it's just...
And even they go into like the likes of like the Frogman and stuff, which kind of linked in with those unsolved mystery things. So I'm like, this is all getting a bit weird. Like with the truth being so crazy as it is, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these things ended up being true as well. Bring on the fucking aliens.
Something, No, I think you said that you had watched the like Extraordinary, the Stan Romanek story, where he has like the peekaboo video, and there's like shit just melting and burning holes through and destroying his video equipment, and
it's just creepy. Like, and like if the thing, and as well, like so much stuff's happened to that one dude. Like for him to have staged it all seems like obsessive and crazy, but like all the interviews I've seen from him, he genuinely just seems freaked out and fucking tired of it all. Like he doesn't seem like he's doing it for the kicks. At least that's my impression. Like from his interviews. So like, maybe it's folk fucking with them? Could it be maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I've always said that I'm very like. I personally have never experienced anything. Like I've never seen aliens, UFO, but I'm very optimistic of their existence.
Yeah. Well, there's like the Fermi paradox and stuff. So like, if they do exist, then maybe they just exist for a very short time, and the chances of them like traveling through that much interstellar space just to talk to us, like, okay. And then the Drake equation about how many civilizations could there actually be, and even that can be quite gratuitous at points.
Mm-hmm.
But then you watch a video like that guy with the 82 alien races, and you're like, well,
did he sit and watch?
In the last few thousand years, like the
Yeah.
chances of 82 races having interacted with the Earth and like us not be like aware. Well, this guy seems aware of it.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to take his 82 species and like go watch Star Wars or Men in Black and be like, right, so we got this from here and aha.
Well, the thing is, like a lot of the species are like some of the stuff that comes up is like old Sumerian texts and things.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's weird Sumerian tablets and stuff with things that look like helicopters and UFOs and like really weird, just unexplainable. Like why the hell would you have carved that into those rocks? And, like, and then the star systems and stuff, which they're megaliths and stuff line up with, also kind of correlate with their the star system that they apparently come from. Like how many of these are coincidences and how many is it just pure lies? Like I'm not an astronomer, so I can't actually tell.
Yeah, well, so speaking of astronomy, I was just reading this either today or yesterday. It's kind of blurring together. But with like SpaceX launching all these new satellites, if you try to do a long exposure picture,
it's got the lines.
Yeah, there's like 16 satellites that go across on some of these. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's any sort of regulation on how many satellites can be up there and how does it affect our ability to view the rest of the universe.
I think there is an argument for that. Like I'm not sure, like if free internet for all versus like hiding the night sky from people.
Yeah, and there's also another one of the arguments, not that we'd be able to do very much about it, but it hinders our ability to like see deep space asteroids and like predict when they might be coming at us.
Does it actually do that? Will they interfere with that?
That's according to
SETI is the I think SETI is the satellite or the telescope, sorry, that they use to
down in like California somewhere.
So, well, I heard that there was a story came out that there was an asteroid going to hit the Earth on election day.
Election day, yeah, but it's just going to like burn up or something like that.
It's like 50 meters. But more interestingly, there's like 3 or 4 other ones which are due to hit. Due to come pretty close, like a couple of months after that, because we're like kind of going through the tail of this comet at the moment.
Yeah.
So, like whenever the solar minimum happens, it makes it harder to actually see these things coming in, which we're also going through. So we've got like that risk, and then these 3 other big ones. I think there's a 100-meter one, and to put it into like perspective, the one that blew up over Russia like a couple of years ago, that blew up all the windows and injured, like nobody died, but it could have flattened the city. That was about 80 meters. So all of these other ones are over 100. So hopefully none of them will hit. That would be a good day. 2020. Just as the year's about to end, we get smashed with an asteroid. It flattens the city.
If that is going to happen, hopefully they give us enough of a warning so we can plan a big holiday in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I would say the best way to go out is with everyone else. Like let's
party,
have a party, smoke a doobie, and just wait for the shockwave.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see like how drunk I can get, not caring about a hangover, and like
I think you could get pretty drunk
for it and have a good time.
I think you'd be surprised how drunk you could get if it was the end of the world, and you actually do. If we had a countdown and there was a big, like, you know, globally on social media, everyone's on the same clock. Everyone knows this is it, man.
Oh man,
game over at 12 o'clock. It's happening.
just need
Think of the parties, though.
think of the well. I think you know, breweries would like we'd run out of beer, really.
Yeah, and it would take too long to distill your own. Probably you can do it quickly.
Yeah,
depends how much warning you got.
Yeah, we might need to turn to hard spirits and like, right, we need to make a lot of whiskey, and we don't need to age it, so some Scottish moonshine and.
No, well, how have you been getting on with your homebrew? You're loving the homebrew.
Yeah, I really enjoy the process and like everything about it. So my first one, my wild card lager. Every bottle's a little bit different, and so Elsie really likes it. She'll like just drink it every now and then, and she can handle the spectrum. I've tasted a good one, and I've tasted probably the worst one, and it's so vastly different that I don't like that kind of variation in my beer.
Right. Have you become like a snob, like a beer snob? Are you an ale snob?
I'm not an ale snob. I like malty beers, and
okay.
Although technically they're all ales, unless they're a lager. But no, like I like good beer.
What about Ben Shaw's Bitter Shandy?
I've never had that.
29p at Poundland or something.
Ooh, I'm drinking some Stewart's 80.
Oh yeah,
very nice.
That's nice.
Speaking
of beer, we've got another beer expert here now that I just noticed pop in. Where is he? Let's add him in. There we go. Yeah! Jose.
So you're talking about beers.
We're talking about beers. Welcome, Jose. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking this.
WITDARC.
Oh yes, Budvar. I do like that. Although I get a bit of a sore head when I drink that.
I find it very nice and refreshing. You know, it's got to be cold though. This is the kind of beer. So once it gets a bit warm, it's like, yeah.
Right. Have you ever drank a room temperature warm Tennent's?
No, I've always been cleverer than that.
It's a rite of passage. You can't.
I just will never touch it. I've touched it on the inside deeply, and it's like, no, I had enough.
We got a comment here. New Glarus is the best beer. Andrew Ring. Have you tried this? New Glarus?
Yeah, so New Glarus is only available in Wisconsin.
Oh, really?
So Andrew's actually visited us, and he's met Jose. Went down to an orangutan gig. But yeah, it's a beer that's only available in Wisconsin. They won't export it across state lines. Pubs have been fined for driving into Wisconsin, buying kegs of beer, and bringing it across to Minnesota.
do they search you? And it's a frontier, and then people go like, "What beer do you have?"
No. A lot of people do cross state lines for personal consumption.
Yeah,
it's very popular. It's very nice. I'll bring some back next time.
The Robin Hood of beer.
Yeah.
It's a good cause. I can see myself doing that.
Yeah.
Why not?
Smuggling beer across the border.
So, do you have a name for your beer, Jake?
No. It's mostly just been kits. I'm not writing my own recipes yet, so I'm taking other people's work. So I don't feel confident naming it since somebody else developed it. But I've been working and reading a lot on what I want to do next. I just need to get more glass bottles.
What do you want to make then? What's your ideal beer? Hello.
I'm thinking about going along the lines of a Dunkel or a Dunkelweizen. So it's gonna be I've decided I think I want to go with the Dunkelweizen. So it's kind of banana-y esters, like a Weiss beer. Banana-y, yeah. Kind of like a Belgian blonde will kind of have sometimes.
I like a blackout blonde. Would it be similar to that? Is blonde the thing that is the taste there?
That's the one that you can get a lot around Malay in that area, no?
I don't know either.
I remember
Black Isles, Inverness area, or just south.
I remember going to a gig and drinking a lot of that beer that I never found anywhere else. So, not very good memory. Not very useful memory.
Too many beers, Jose?
So,
the problem is playing beer festivals. Like we did a few of those, and like, how are you supposed to remember playing a beer festival exactly?
Oh.
Every beer festival I've been, I was driving. You know how silly is going to a beer festival and go like, do you have? Just give me water, please.
Oh no!
Oh.
What was the one that we used to play up near Aberdeen? Bankery.
Yeah.
Bankery Beer Festival.
That was good. That was good.
I like it. Well, I think they did ask us back as well. I think we would have played there this year.
I think they asked us a couple of times, and we just couldn't do it for one reason or another. Sometimes we had another gig, or one of us was on holidays or something.
Yeah, no, that was always good fun.
Yeah, that was really good.
Quite long as well.
Yeah. Last time I played there was with Ramadan. They wanted Siva's Kid, and they're like, "Oh, I cannot give you Siva's Kid because someone was out." It's like, but there's this other band.
Orangutan. Well, I guess you guys won't have had orangutan gigs for how long as well? Like, when was the last orangutan gig?
July 20-something, 2018.
Could it be? Yeah, because last year we were not active. It's true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's been a year and a half.
Yeah, we went up to.
It was in June. That was when the van broke down.
Yeah, that was our last.
Oh God.
We spent a night in the Asda parking lot in Dundee.
Yeah.
I can't I've seen Jose when he's missed his dinner and had to play a gig. I cannot imagine Jose when
he's well fed,
a band breaks down. Oh my God.
No, we had food. That wasn't a problem.
So what actually happened? Recount the story for anyone that doesn't know what happened.
Well, it all started after playing. We played a couple of gigs, right?
Well, first of all, we played one gig in Port
Soy. That was a Port Soy boat festival.
Yeah, and so we were like a half hour late getting to the gig. First of all,
yeah,
and then we got paid, and then I think Stuart needed to be back for something, so we went to Jim's for a cup of tea, and then started heading back south after that.
Oh yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, we got to play with the dog. Highlight of the trip, and it all went south from there.
So what happened? Did the tire go, or was it the engine?
No. So the engine started making some funny noises, but so this was a minibus, a 17-seater that had been converted essentially by eliminating a bunch of seats in the back to carry gear and could carry up to 10 people, something like that. So it was great to go to gigs with it. And we used it a lot. So as we were leaving Aberdeen and we're just getting onto the motorway, the van started making some funny noises. I think we managed to pull off.
Yeah, we pulled off onto a slip road or something like that.
Yeah, and Stuart was checking it to see what was happening, and he thought, nah, this is not good. But then he changed his mind. I thought, it seems like it's going now. Yeah, it's going. Until it didn't. And this time we were in the middle of the motorway. He managed to pull off into what looked like an exit of the motorway. But it wasn't an exit. It was just something that they're building. So it just led to some little road going nowhere. So there was no traffic, there was nothing. From a point of view of safety, it was quite good. If you're going to stop somewhere, that's great. But we had then adventures trying to get breakdown services, right?
Yeah.
How long did it take from breaking down to actually getting into your house and getting in the bed?
I think we broke down around 6 p.m.
Something like that.
Something like that. And we got a tow truck from Aberdeen to Dundee. I can't remember what time we rolled into Dundee. But then a second tow truck was supposed to pick us up in Dundee. And that's really where the big issue started. Because there was some weird thing with like the insurance, where technically something wasn't covered, and so we should have never had the first tow anyways, and so nobody was coming to pick us up, and it was just like hours and hours and hours. And so we had walked to, I think there was a B&Q that had a rental vehicle that we were like, we walked over and like, can we rent this? Nope. Okay, next. And like,
God damn it! And you know, like it's always the worst, man. I've had nightmares on the road, like especially going up to those Bankery beer festivals. Every time I've gone up there, I've had an absolute disaster, either on the way up or the way back.
The last 40 minutes can be a little bit hairy if it's dark.
Yeah. I remember it was always like I was trying to get days off work, and then so I wouldn't get the day off. I would always get the day next off, so I'd have to work the shift and then bomb it from Edinburgh up the A9 as fast as I could, and oh, it was horrible. Make it there with like 10 minutes, like carrying that up, like let's go. I think next year, as long as if the festivals go ahead, like what festivals do you want to play?
All of them.
All of them.
I think like I've been fingers crossed we could get Boomtown next year.
That'd be so good.
It'll be pretty busy, so we'll see what's on offer. But I think there'll be cancellations and stuff, and folk will end up sort of migrating festivals instead of potentially all the slots being locked up. I definitely would love to play Boomtown again. You'd love Boomtown, Jake.
Yeah. I loved it.
As long as it's not on the day that Elsie graduates, I am.
What day is that?
Like end of June, I think, if there is a graduation ceremony. So
all good.
Okay,
Might be fine. I think Knockingore at Kelburn. Oh, that would be great. Eden, Dinner Rabbit Hole, Mugstock. They need to bring Linky Lee back. Math was reminding me of Linky Lee the other day. In fact, he was calling it Linky fucking Lee. I was like, that's they should just rebrand it Linky fucking Lee. Those were great fun. Those were just have you heard of Linky Lee, Jake?
No, I haven't.
That was like run by Bonnie and Callum on a wee estate just sort of near Dunbar, the west coast. On the east coast. And yeah, it was just for like local bands mainly. So this was like at the time there was in Edinburgh was like Victorian Trout Conspiracy, who were like also like a sort of fishy ska band. And like Jamie and Shuni were coming up, and like Hector Berserk was at that time. Young Fathers was there once, but it was just mostly bands and like upcoming bands from Edinburgh that would all descend in this little festival for a couple of years, and all the money we go to charity. Yeah, it was awesome. But like they run it themselves for years, and it was a bit of a strain. Now Callum's like doing his solo material, doing loads of really cool stuff with like organs, and he's someone that like I admire him a lot because he uses restraint loads when he's writing. So he'll like limit himself with like a particular keyboard or a particular instrument, which is kind of weird and janky, but he gets the most out of it because like that's all he will use to write with. But do you see when you're writing on? Do you write a lot at home on Trumpet?
I do some on Trumpet, but for me, like I think it's easier to like hear the harmony and like hear where the song, like the shape and the emotion and stuff goes. If I'm using guitar, or heaven forbid, I'm touching a keyboard.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's easiest for me to write on guitar to kind of get like the like extended harmonies, figure out where the sevenths are, ninths, 11ths, 13ths, stuff like that, and kind of the push and pull of it, and then from there, like laying like trumpet on top of that.
And what do you use to record at home? Just that. Like, do you go into like Logic, or like do you just use?
So I really only got into like recording since lockdown. Before it was my iPad with GarageBand, and then just using the input mic on that.
So they're good too.
Yeah, well, yeah. So a lot of stuff I did prior to lockdown was on that, and then probably the first month or two into lockdown, I bought a MacBook. I broke out this microphone, which I had. I have my Digitech guitar multi-effects processor, which can model like 60 something different amplifiers.
Yeah, I was
I bought a guitar, and so I started like kind of playing with that. And so some of the stuff I was sending to you guys was written more like that.
That one that you sent us last time was amazing.
Something about muchas cervezas.
Yeah, because when I was writing it, I was drinking a lot of beer, and I opened my fridge, and it was just full of beer. I'm like,
I love that one.
Was it mucho cervezas?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, that was all I learned when I was in Gran Canaria. Tu cerveza, por favor, gracias, amigo.
Hey.
And what was it? Rum y cola, I think. Would that get me a rum and coke?
Ron y Coca-Cola, Ron y Cola.
Yeah, sí. Okay. Nearly. So what have you been up to this week, Jose?
Work. I'm still working mostly from home.
What's the actual the place called that you work in King's Building? The area.
The building is a SWAM building. It's a Wellcome Trust Center for Cell Biology.
Okay, because my dad's applying for a job there, I think. And I was like, I don't know, because it's in the King's Buildings. It was like the biological something center.
There's a lot of biology. Find out where it is. If it's there, that'd be cool. Come say hi.
Yeah. I was like, you could go for lunch with Jose if you get the job. Yeah, be quite cool. He's retired now, so like he's working. There's a bit like near my house in Tweedbank called Abbotsford House, which is like where Sir Walter Scott used to like hang out, and he's a famous Scottish poet and like writer. And so my dad just like basically does tours there and like looks after the gift shop, and
nice.
That's pretty cool. But he used to do engineering. He used to basically run the whole engineering for the hospital. So he's got all this like technical experience in management. I think he's getting maybe a little bored of the tourist stuff, and maybe wants to get back into doing maybe more hands-on things. I think the job involves like machining and stuff.
I was just going to ask. There is a workshop that do all kinds of amazing things for us, and they think this some person retired and somebody else left, and they've been struggling because they have only like 2 people, and right. they used to be amazing. If he's going to be there, oh my god, yeah, he's going to be my best friend.
Yeah, well, he'd be an asset. Honestly, he can literally fix anything. He's like, I remember not being able, like, I was afraid to use tools and like afraid to even put a hole in a wall. So I remember like learning all that stuff. My dad's always been great at that. I broke my fishing rod when I was a kid, and he like got his friend to like carbon fiberglass it back together. It was like, wow, nothing would ever break. Yeah, I'm sure whatever you need, you'll be able to make it.
Sounds exactly what these people used to do. Because it used to be, we have bits of equipment. Some of the bits of equipment we have, they're very old. You can't even find the parts. And sometimes you just want something that's going to do a particular thing, and you just cannot buy something like this. So you go to these guys, you tell them what it is, and they start talking to them. They look at what they have around, and in a week, they come with something like, yes, amazing. This is it. It's amazing.
That'd be quite a fun job. It's almost like Mythbusters, like Adam Savage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You could like create anything you want. I'm kind of dream of having that type of workshop, like a big shed, like guitars and like cool speakers about, but then just like lathes and saws and chainsaws and things, just so I could go wild and make anything like a mad scientist.
Start building like sets for Seabass Kid shows and.
Oh yeah, like I was wanting to make for Jade's place. He's making like a sort of tiki psychedelic surf shack pizza bit at the Leith Arches. You came and had a pizza there, Jose. We want to make some like quarter-size surfboards out of like MDF or whatever, but like get them up around. So my uncle's got like one of these man caves. He's going to show me how to cut it all up and make something cool. Yeah. Did you see the budgie earlier, Jose?
Yeah.
Isn't it cool?
It's very nice.
I'm so happy with him, man. Like,
it seems super friendly. How long have you had it? for about a week or
about a week now.
Yeah.
You know, he just wanted to be friends. Like my dad said to me, he was like, I think he wants to be friends. Just keep working on him, like get him out every day. And so I did that, and yeah, now he's great. He'll like crawl up my shoulder and like hang out.
Yeah.
I'll just get him out, and he'll just sit and hang out like next to the stereo and just like bobbing his head and that. So
How does he get along with the rabbit and the guinea pigs?
the first night, the rabbit was freaked out completely. Like ran up and was thumping her foot every like 10 seconds, and that was all night as well. And she kept coming through. Like rabbits do this sort of like ninja like shuffle when they're like concerned.
Ninja
Like, get really low to the ground and stick their ass in there and like come in. She would come in all like, what's going on? As soon as the budgie would do anything, she'd tear off again, thump her foot. But then literally the next day she came in and she was fine. And now, well, you'll see, she's here, and the budgie is there. So
cool.
They're friends now. Hey, Starbucks.
Hello.
I love my animals. They're a total godsend. I'll spend whole like just hours kicking about them. Better than watching TV these days. You've got a wee cat, haven't you, Jake?
I've got 2 cats. Yeah.
You got 2 cats? Oh, right. I thought you just had the one.
No, I've got one that like is attached to my hip most of the time, and then there's another that Elsie has raised since he's like a couple weeks old, so he's very affectionate towards her.
I would get a cat, but I'm always allergic to cats for some reason. I've had like 2 cats that I've experienced that haven't made me like want to sneeze my guts.
You know what? I'm quite allergic to some cats, and I thought the allergy was a terrible thing, which was a problem because Ola has a cat.
Aye.
So that was the main reason why for a long time I was postponing the inevitable. And I was just keeping my own place. Yeah. But then I was thinking, I remember like my parents had cats, and I remember that if I play with them, I have to be very careful. I don't touch my face, don't touch my eyes. I'm probably going to sneeze for a while. But there are no carpets in that place. And my mom is obsessed with constantly swiping, cleaning everything. And I didn't have much of a problem there. So then with Ola, I was thinking, let's find a place that has no carpets and we can keep it clean and all that kind of stuff. So she's here. And we took about 4 months for the cat to come here. It was with Greg for a while, right? But there's neighbors that have cats, and these cats are super friendly and they keep coming all the time. And I was like, it's gonna be bad with the allergy, but yeah, if I touch them and stuff like that, it gets bad. But otherwise, it's kind of easy to manage. So then our cat comes here, and it's been living with us already for about a month, and I was already fine. I make sure that it doesn't go into the bedroom because I don't. The bed has to be hair-free and stuff like that. Yeah. And other than that, we have this kind of like, it's like a brush that has a roller, the sticky roller, so you can just roll it over the sofa and stuff like that. You put a place that a cat likes, so he always sits there, but sometimes it goes up. So you just wipe it with that. Just hoover, keep it clean and stuff like that. And it's working pretty well. And cats can be amazing.
They are so. Well, I met your cat when I came round last week.
Yeah.
So nice. Like a bit timid at first, but like eventually won him over. Or her. Is it him or her?
It's a her.
Is it her? What was her name?
Fufu.
Fufu.
Yeah. It's a cat. She's never very been warm with me. So when Ola will go on holiday, I'll go and I'll look after her. When there's nobody else, then okay, she'll come with me. She sniffs me. If I go and pet her, she goes, you know, when they go, and go away, just like that. And little by little, she's becoming a bit more friendly with me because I play with her a lot. But now, Ola has been away for a week. I've been the only source of entertainment and everything. She's amazing. Suddenly, she's all over me. She sleeps over me. It's fantastic. Cats can be really amazing because they're also very honest. It's like if they don't care about things, like it's not like dogs. I love dogs as well. But dogs, if a dog is friendly, you have him all the time. A cat,
Yeah.
you need to work with it. You know?
They've got attitude. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you ever have the pleasure of meeting Jamie's cat in his mum's house?
No,
Oh my god.
I've heard of it though.
She used to she used to scratch. I remember once Math was with me, and I tried to go up. I forget her name. It wasn't Puss Puss. That's Gemma's cat. Anyway, I approached her, and she totally took a swipe at me like a ninja, just like that. I was like, ah! And then like I seen her go over, and she sat up next to Math, and like on the couch next to Math, and I knew she was riled up. And like I seen Math like going in his hand slowly. I was like, oh, and I never said anything. And just as I thought, it was just like, wow, and got a big, like, huge slice out of Math's hand. I was like, oh, I've got the names on the tip of my tongue. Is it Millie, Maisie, Molly? Oh God, I'll have to ask Jamie. I've forgotten what her name was. But yeah, I think if I had the choice, I would get a dog. I think we're having the rabbit and the small animals. I'd have to get a very particular type of dog that would be okay with animals that it would maybe normally hunt.
Yeah.
Hey, Starbuck. Oh.
We do a lot of dog sitting, and like we have to like do interviews beforehand and get to meet the dog. And we have a very small client base, but the dogs that we have now are like amazing.
I would like to get, sorry, Starbucks stealing my attention. Yeah, I'd like to get a rescue if I was going to get a dog. There's like 2 or 3 rescue places down here in the borders. The one in Leith, you tend to just be like staffies and older pit bulls and things. And there's one further out by Balado or Balerno, something like that. They've got this cool bit. When I was working the hi-fi shop, we put speakers in to the circle areas there for the dogs to let them chill out. They're called they did a newspaper piece called the Reggae Dogs. We played them reggae music and they would chill out. But they had a huge selection. They had like greyhounds, like they had a Yorkshire Terrier, and like bigger like collie type dogs and things. So I think if depending on the time of year, you can get quite a good choice if you go a bit further afield. My cousin's told me that she's going to take me. She's got 3 dogs, a Springer Spaniel, a collie, and something else. She's going to take me and like introduce me to the folk and hopefully get one. I suppose, honest, I'm going to be like Ace Ventura before long. Be like, la, 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 la. Oh, right, then. Oh,
that's really cool. Like that.
Oh man. So right, what's your guys' plans for the weekend then? What's with the world the way it is? Have you got any big plans?
No.
Nothing. No, come on, tell me something exciting, like you're going rollerblading or something. No. My
big plan is that I'm going to go to the airport tomorrow to pick up Ola, Greg, and Hannah.
Oh yeah, they've been way back home visit.
Yeah, so they're back. And in the evening, we're going to go to the cinema.
Whoa. Holy shit.
Do you remember that? Cinema.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
So what are you going to do? What are you going to see in the cinema?
I have no idea.
You don't give a fuck.
I have no idea. All about this. Do you want to go? Yes.
Yes. I could do with a cinema trip. That would be good. I think that would be like, because they're big open areas as well.
Yeah.
Like if they did the social distance thing, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I think it's they arrange it so it's like if you book it together, so maybe you get 2-3 people, whatever. But then it's quite a lot of space in between. And to be honest, cinemas for years it's pretty much empty. So there was social distancing before, almost, if you like. You know, even the big Star Wars movies, they come out the first 2 days super full. Then it's just selling out. And
and then they matched all their prices to like Netflix and stuff. So it was like $5.99. That's amazing though. I definitely started going way more once they did that. Because I begrudged paying like what 12 quid, 13 quid sometimes for a ticket.
Yeah.
You're like, no. And then you're gonna charge me like 3 quid for some popcorn.
I just paid monthly. I have the Cineworld thingy. So it's like 17 quid a month or so, and
Yeah.
just can go anytime you like. So it's,
I used to do that. Do you remember the little cinema in Tollcross? Like, remember where I worked in James Morrow, the blue shop, and then you go around the corner.
It's called the Cameo.
The Cameo, yeah.
Yeah, Cameo. That's nice. That's a nice one.
It's beautiful. It's kind of quaint, like it's kind of like idyllic, like in the movies.
Yeah.
So I got myself a membership for that and used to go. I don't know. I'd go for like 3 or 4 times a week. I remember the first time I went to the cinema on my own and being like, "This is weird, like, but it shouldn't be weird, but it's fine." And then but then partly the problem is like I would get so hideously stoned before going in the cinema. Like I would because I lived right around the corner, I could smoke. I don't know, 2 or 3 spliffs, and then I would just try and get in. Like just get in and sat down, and once you're sat down, be like, oh, right, okay, and I'd go watch, like they had all the classics playing, like they would do Halloween horror like specials, which would be like grindhouse stuff for like 3-4 hours for the whole night. And what else did I see there? 2001: A Space Odyssey. Seen that for the first time at the Cameo, and that was awesome. And Ex Machina. That was a good one.
A good movie to watch there because of the whole atmosphere would be. Have you watched Cinema Paradiso? It's an Italian movie.
Oh no, that rings a bell. As soon as you said that, my brain thought, what is it? It's a movie set in the 1950s, probably. So it's set in Italy, in a little village. That's the times when, of course, movies come in several reels. So they'll play one, they'll have to have a break while they take it out and put a new one in. And also they were made of cellulose, which is very flammable in certain. Right.
So you have to be very, very careful with that because.
So like Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is a movie about the friendship between a little boy who's like 7, 8 years old. Lots of mischief, and the relationship between the old grumpy, but with big heart guy who runs the cinema and this little kid. And lots of things happen. It's just beautiful. It's just set in this. It's beautiful. It's tragic. It's sad. There's lots of everything. It's one of the favorite movies in the world.
Is it an animated movie?
No.
It's real life actors.
Yeah, it's real life actors.
All right. Because I was wondering if it was maybe a different name, because there was an animated movie called The Illusionist, which is set in I think it's actually France, and then it was set in Edinburgh, The Illusionist. And there's a scene where they actually run into the Cameo, and so I remember seeing it at the Cameo, and then the little animated characters come and run into the Cameo to the back of the cinema, and they're apparently looking over your shoulder. But that was Bellevue Rendezvous. That's what I'm thinking of. That was the original, and then so that one was what, Cinema Paradiso. Cinema Paradiso.
Jake, have you watched that?
No, I haven't.
I've got a DVD. What we should do someday is get a few beers and watch it together. I would love to watch that movie again. I've watched it like 5-6 times, and I could watch it a million more times.
That sounds good. Right, guys, I think we should probably wrap up for the night, because we're like, what are we in? An hour and 45. We've done pretty well. I'm going to cook some dinner because I'm not eating since like 4 o'clock or something. 3 o'clock. It's been a long day. What are you guys doing tonight? More beer. Yeah, I think. Well, I've got 15 minutes. I can maybe make it to the New Zealand. It's possible. Right. Well, no. Thanks, guys, for coming talking to me. It's been fun. Yeah. We should try and get the whole of Seabass on. What do you think we could get us all on? You can have up to 10 people now on StreamYard all at once. So we could even do like the whole of Seabass plus like another 2 or 3 if we could.
People,
I'd
love
to try and fill the whole screen.
Cool to try and do like an album like show where we like play a track, talk about it, and
Yeah.
like get like Monica and Hamish and just like everyone.
That'd be great. Yeah. Well,
That'd
let's
be
do
very
it.
good.
We have the ability to do it now. In fact, we could even just upload it onto like YouTube, and then we just play it through YouTube, and we can get folk to subscribe in that as well.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, guys. Well, peace out. Much love, and I'll catch you guys in the future. Take it easy.
It's lovely to see you guys.
Ciao, ciao.
Take care.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. I hope you've had a nice night. We've had a nice chat, a good catch up, and we'll catch you on Sunday night. We've got Stevie Creed for the next Whistling in the Dark. It's technically the first sound one. We're just having a bit of a test tonight. But yeah, join us Sunday night, 7 o'clock for Stevie Creed. Take it easy. Ciao, ciao.